From the New Arts and Media Studios in Milwaukee, I'm Charles Purcell. This is The Log. Hey, did you see this headline recently? Apparently there's a new version of Scrabble, the game Scrabble. Yeah, the makers of Scrabble have, Mattel, right? Yeah. The toy maker, the game maker Mattel, has an update for Scrabble, which has been around for about 75 years. Let's see here, reading from The Guardian. Mattel's update of the 75-year-old tile-laying word game includes a mode in which players collaborate to make words and score the most points as a team. Cards give players hints to help them find the best words. It's intended to offer a less competitive, more accessible experience where players of differing ages and abilities can enjoy working on a puzzle together. So, all well and good. It's making news for a couple of reasons. It's a popular game. It hasn't been updated for 75 years, and it's kind of a cool thing. But I think the real reason it's making news is because conservatives are going insane. Like, how dare you? You have to have winners and losers. You can't have any of these snowflakes. It's so ridiculous. So that's the deal. But games, according to this line of thinking, and it's not just conservatives. I mean, it's, I don't want to just label people and have you put that image in your head. No, I'm talking probably most of us, all of us have this idea that, you got to play games and you got to learn to be a good loser and a good winner. And there's the whole, competition is natural. And in fact, it's central to competition is just central to everything the way we live. We if we want to have a love life, a dating life, well, we compete. We make ourselves presentable and acceptable as mates, and then we go out and fight for the girl or fight for the guy. And in court, of course, it's an adversarial system, and then money, above all, the money system. You have to have a job, you have to work, you have to live, and so you have to compete. It's so ingrained in us. It's so entirely ingrained in us. I think all of us think this way. Maybe we don't articulate it. Maybe we've never really thought about it. Maybe we don't, would put it in those words. But if you really get down to it, I think that's how pretty much everybody thinks. But it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way. So, make a Scrabble game where people can cooperate and win together. But the point is, there are lots of ways we don't have to be always competing. I like sports as much as the next guy. I like a good football game, a good basketball game, a good baseball game. To me, that's where competition works. It just works within the rules, and it's fun to watch. And you're going to have winners and losers, but everybody knows that going in. As opposed to a family trying to have some fun with a game of Scrabble. And there's the little kid and the older kids, and the little kid wants to have some fun. Well, he's got to learn to be tough. He's got to learn to be a good loser. I mean, there are plenty of opportunities to learn the lessons of life. Let a kid have some fun one night playing Scrabble with his family. I remember when I was a kid, I liked to play the home version of Jeopardy. And I was only about, 10 years old, 11, 12, like in there. And my older sister was married to a guy, and he was a nice guy, and he liked Jeopardy also, but he's 10 years older than me, or more, 12 years older. And so we would play Jeopardy together, and he would always win the first few games, but then as the night went on, he was a big beer drinker. He would always be drunk by the end of the night, and I could actually win a game or two. But I digress. Those were good days. Those were fun days, playing the home version of Jeopardy with my brother-in-law as he got drunk. But it's fun for a kid to win once in a while. And also, here I'll give you another example. Some people are just not as smart. They should be able to have some fun. Also, get on a team with somebody who's a little smarter, and you collaborate, and it's fine. It's great. In fact, it's more than that. It's how the world ought to work. The other example, I was playing a Trivial Pursuit or some kind of game like that with a girlfriend at the time and her family. And the question was something like, which 17th century French poet did XYZ? I don't remember now. But it was just so over my head that I just was completely stumped. I don't know. And my girlfriend and her family, who are obviously smarter than me, at least better educated in this area, were kind of, giggling a little bit because as I'm sitting there slack-jawed, I have no idea. And at one point, my girlfriend says, "Oh, it's all right. Just name any 17th century French poet." I couldn't name a 17th century. So yeah, it's nice when a dumb person can team up with a smart person and they can all feel like they're on the same team. And what's wrong with that? Oh, you have to have competition. That's the way the world works. It's not. It's really not. Even the game Monopoly. Remember that? Well, of course, remember. It's not like it's in the past. We've all played Monopoly, right? Maybe you still do occasionally. You know that game? You know the history of that game? I'll bet you do. This has become better known over the years. I'm reading now from, I don't know, Wikipedia, someplace I got this information. It was created in 1903, Monopoly. 1903, and is derived from something called the Landlord's Game. That was the original title of what then became Monopoly. The Landlord's Game in the United States by a woman named Lizzie Magie, as a way to demonstrate that an economy rewarding individuals is better than one where monopolies hold all the wealth. It also served to promote the economic theories of Henry George. And Henry George basically was a progressive. He was an economist. He was a progressive. He believed in progressive taxation and helping out the little guy. And he was, by our standards, one of the good guys. So that's what Monopoly originally was. The Monopoly version, where winning monopolies, beats the other guy, that was a different set of rules. So in other words, this Landlord's Game, as originally intended, had two sets of rules. One to show how the world should work, the other to show how the world should not work, how it's bad. And that was the Monopoly version. The Monopoly version that we know today was the bad version of this game, designed to teach us how not to live real life. But that's the way we look at life. I did something this week that's related to this. I shouldn't say I don't normally, because I do normally, I confess. I do comment occasionally on social media posts by strangers. I do. I admit it. Occasionally I'll do that. And this was an article I saw from something called Big Think. I see them show up in my social media feed occasionally. They're not quite as big a think as they think they are, but occasionally they'll have something interesting. Anyway, here's the headline. There are 5 different financial personalities. Which one are you? And this is related to the whole competition thing that I was just talking about. So it's, for our day and age, one of these interesting little sort of listicles, 5 things, 5 bullet points, easy to read. And so the 5 are the big spender, the saver, the shopper, the debtor, and the investor. So it's this pithy little article defining these different types of folks and how we think about finances and money. So I read this thing, or I scan it. There's nothing too earth-shattering about it. But I write a comment, because in one of the categories, they talk about making your money work for you. And we've all heard that expression a million times. Oh, you got to make your money work for you. You have to invest. And so I made a little comment. Make your money work for you, quote unquote, actually means make other people work for you, and then you take the profits. I continue in my social media comment. I have no interest in making, quote, smarter financial choices, unquote. In a financial system that exploits and endangers workers, creates poverty, and concentrates wealth at the top. If there are 5 personality types, I guess I'm personality type number 6. I really have no interest in your system. It's a bad system. It's a system that leaves people poor and dead. You can't have rich people without poor people existing. It's just a fact. It's the way the game works. I don't want to play your game. That's basically what I'm saying here. Well, okay, so I get a response, which I wisely chose not to respond again. I just let this stand, although I guess this is my response. Anyway, a guy named Michael, I won't give you his last name, he responds to my comment. All well and good, but if you don't play the game, you cannot win. I worked my job for 40 years, not in the financial industry, but was careful about saving and investing, and it paid off. Those were the cards I was dealt. I made the best of it. One can wring their hands or make the best of the situation at hand. One can wring their hands or make the best of the situation at hand. Now, that sounds pretty reasonable, doesn't it? I'll bet you even agree. I think virtually everyone I've ever met in my entire life agrees with that. But I don't agree with this. He starts all well and good. I just said that it's a bad, evil system that kills people. I didn't even mention how it's killing the planet, how it kills other non-human animals. I could have added that too. It creates poverty, concentrates wealth at the top, and literally kills people. And kills the planet. That's what I just said. And he says, all well and good. There's nothing I can do about that. You have to play the game. It's a game. All right? It's a game, and I have to play it. Nobody's giving me the option to sit down and play this game. The game is the game, and I have to play it. That's what he's saying. If you don't play, you can't win. So, according to Michael, and according to every other single person I've ever met on this planet, well, you have to be winners and losers. I mean, I know of other people who agree with me. I've read books. I know there are people who write books about, but I haven't met them. Yeah, you have to play this game. Even though it's an evil game, well, I invested. And investment, he's not disputing anything I said. Yeah, investment means that other people work for that money because money doesn't come from nowhere. Wealth is built through labor. So other people, I don't care how much you want to badmouth Marx and pretend Marxism is a dirty word. Show me how he's wrong. Labor creates wealth. Is that pretty basic? Is there anybody who doesn't agree with that? Please tell me how that's wrong. Labor creates wealth. If I get money for nothing, I'm getting it on the back of someone who's worked for it and created that wealth and got paid a certain wage, but certainly not the amount that they produced. There's a skimming off the top. That's what profit is. That's what interest is. Work my job, save, invest, buy a home, buy property. Those were the cards I was dealt. Yeah, again, there's the game analogy. It's really a perfect analogy. That's because that's exactly what it is. It's a game with rules. And none of us invented the game, but yet we have to play it. Just like none of us invented Scrabble, but God forbid the people who invented Scrabble give us a nice little alternative version. Or the woman who originally invented Monopoly gave us another version. In that version, profits and wealth go to the people who create it, not the people who can put a hotel on Boardwalk. So that's the way we think. It's not, I don't know. Do you have, do you own your home? Do you own land? Do you have investments? I'm not saying you're an evil person. What I'm saying is either A, you've never really thought about it in these terms. You're just doing what you do. You're just living life. You never really considered these things. Okay, that could be a lot of people. Maybe that's you. Maybe you're like Michael, who wrote back, yeah, okay, it's a bad system, but what are you going to do? I can't control it. So I'm just going to look out for myself and my family and try to be a good person and just do what I do. And yeah, I'll invest. And okay, yeah, it's an evil system and poor people. Or, okay, so you're A or B, maybe you're person number C who really understands it well and you don't care. Then you're getting into the evil area. Then I would start to maybe judge you. If you really understand, if you really know in your bones that in order to have the wealth you have, other people have to starve, and you just take no interest at all in either, one, extricating yourself from that system, or two, actually fighting against that system. If you don't do one of those two, either take yourself out of it voluntarily as best you can, or fight against it as best you can. If you really know and understand the relationship between the rich and the poor and how they're exploited, and you still do nothing, then you're beyond what I don't know. I don't have any more sympathy for you. I don't have any more charity for you. Now I'm starting to judge you. Yes, I admit it. And then there are people who really just know it inside and out. These investment people, these millionaires and billionaires who really understand the system, and yet they continue to promote it. To me, that's pure evil. I mean, here, Warren Buffett, for example. I'm gonna go on from this conversation and expand it a little bit, or take a little turn. Warren Buffett talked about AI this week in an article I read, and he's very concerned about AI. I guess it was at the annual shareholder meeting of his company in Omaha, Nebraska. Quote, "We let a genie out of the bottle when we developed nuclear weapons," he said. "AI is somewhat similar. It's part way out of the bottle." Reading from CNN Business right now. The so-called Oracle of Omaha acknowledged to his audience that he has little idea about the tech behind AI, but said he still fears its potential repercussions. His image and voice were recently replicated by an AI-backed tool, he said, and they were so convincing that they could have fooled his own family. Scams using these deep fakes, he added, will likely become increasingly prevalent. Quote, "If I was interested in investing in scamming, it's going to be the growth industry of all time," he told the crowd. The article continues, Berkshire Hathaway has started employing some AI in its own business to make employees more efficient, said Greg Abel, the expected successor to Buffett, who runs Berkshire's non-insurance operations. At times, it displaces the labor, but then hopefully there's other opportunities, said Abel, who didn't reveal much detail about how the company plans to use AI. So this is actually sad and funny, and Warren Buffett is an old guy. He's worried about the scamming. Okay, he should be. All right, that's fine. But that's just the tip of the iceberg about how AI is going to ruin our lives. It's going to take like most of the jobs. Yes, the scamming is a problem, and it's also going to decide some people think that humans are a bother and they should just be killed off. I'm not beyond believing that's a possibility. But the point here is Warren Buffett is one of the guys who completely understands the system and profits by it. And he's the guy, he and his ilk are the guys who are making AI dangerous in the first place. Because, I've thought a lot about this, it's only because of the current system of competition and of profit that makes AI dangerous in the first place. AI wouldn't be dangerous without those components. If everything we did was not based on competition and profit, but rather based on cooperation and mutual aid, well, how would AI be a danger to that? If it took jobs, well, then that would be just fine. Take the jobs. Why would any worker want to do some tedious, repetitive work that AI or robotics could do? Even, and I would take this even to as far as to say, the sort of dry writing, the copywriting, the ad writing, legal writing, business writing, all the writing. Sure, let AI do it. It's not feeding anybody's soul. It's not enriching us. And then it could leave humans free to do actual human things, like make art and love each other and take care of each other. We got so many elder people who need care. We've got so many young children who need care. We need to care for each other. The care economy right now, under the profit competitive mode, is just in shambles. Nothing works. Absolutely nothing works in our current system. People are getting screwed left and right. And AI could be a wonderful advantage in a world that was based on cooperation and mutual aid rather than competition and profit. So Warren Buffett and all the rest of you guys, you created this world. You uphold this world every day. You control this world with your money. And then, Warren Buffett, you have the nerve to whine about AI and tell us, oh, it's a very scary thing. There'd be no incentive in the world I'm describing, cooperation and mutual aid. Where would be the incentive to do evil things with AI? Where would be the incentive to scam? There wouldn't be any. Everybody's... okay. The world just doesn't work. The world you guys have built doesn't work. Look at the whole tipping thing. That's gone insane. That's gone insane. I read something recently. Americans are spending $500 a year per capita. Each of us is spending $500 a year on tips. And you see these stories all the time. Again, if you're somebody who kind of scrolls your social feed, you'll see these little stories, these little video clips of people just tired of tipping. I'm not going to tip anymore. And then the Uber Eats guy takes the food back. If you can't tip, and then all the comments are always, if you can't afford to tip, then don't buy these services. Tipping. I'm not going to take one side or the other because it's just the system itself is so screwed up. The fact that workers in restaurant and delivery and now many industries are all just turning that little screen around for you to tap on how much to tip. The fact that workers have to rely on tips, and then the owners of the business come in and say, well, we have no choice. We're paying as much as we can. Our margins are very small. And then the consumers themselves, some of them say, if you have any conscience at all, you got to tip them. Others say, hey, it's not up to me to pay your salary. People should be paying you a fair salary, so I'm not going to tip. I'm drawing the line in the sand. And I would like to choose one of those voices to amplify right now, but I can't choose sides on this one because everybody's screwed. I agree with everybody on this one. Our current financial system, just the way we navigate through this world, doesn't work anymore. It doesn't work for workers. It doesn't work for consumers. It doesn't work for small business owners. It doesn't work for anybody. Everybody's running around totally screwed by advancing technology they can't keep up with, and the guys in the 1% taking all the profits. It doesn't work. We got to stop. Competition and profit have to be stricken. They have to go. Leave competition to the athletes. That's where it's fun to watch, and the losers don't die or starve. The current system just doesn't work. Hey. All right, before we have to go, no time to get into it, but the court cases of the Orange Menace are not going well. Eileen Cannon down in Florida on the documents case says, there are too many pretrial issues. We'll have to postpone the documents case indefinitely. So that's gone. That's just gone forever. And her excuse, the too many pretrial issues, well, she's the one who's holding up the pretrial issues. She's not making rulings. So that's bad. Georgia Appeals Court is going to review Fani Willis. Trump has brought a case saying that she should be dropped from the case. So in other words, just delay. And the Georgia Appeals Court is going to hear that case, going to review that decision. So that's happening. I don't know if you're following the hush money Stormy Daniels. It's all being said in media everywhere, so just go ahead and find that elsewhere. I can tell you my personal opinion that it's not going well, and I think he's going to walk on this. He's got a better chance of going to jail on the gag order than on the case itself. He's violated the gag order now 10 times, and so it's like Spinal Tap. Judge Mershon says you can't go to 11. Or can you? He says if you go to 11, you're going to jail. This goes to 11. So that's interesting. And the most interesting thing I find about that, nobody talks that much about his weird hair and makeup anymore. It seems trivial, but I can't get past it. So I'm really interested, if he has to spend a night or two in jail, who does his hair and makeup? Does he come out just looking, I don't know, what's he going to look like? What's going to happen? I'm fascinated by this. It's ridiculous that he's violated the gag order 10 times and for a grand total of $10,000 in fines. And he's got no trouble paying $10,000 because he just get his supporters to donate that. So, I mean, it's ridiculous. And recently, in the last couple days, literally audibly cursing in court with no repercussions, with no contempt of court ruling. He's, Stormy Daniels will be up on the witness stand and she says something and he leans over to his lawyer and says, it's bullshit. And so the whole court can hear it. The jurors can hear it. The judge can hear it. The gallery can hear it. And Mershon, yells at his lawyers. He calls them up to his bench and yells at his lawyers, tell your client to stop swearing. What a tool. So anyway, there's so many things to say about that, about the trials, or that trial in particular, because it's the only one happening. The others aren't happening. And there's plenty of places to get your information on that. But that's my take. I'm wondering about who's going to do his hair and makeup and what he's going to look like if he has to spend a night in jail. Wondering why Judge Mershon has given him 10 chances and like Spinal Tap is going to allow him to go to 11. And wondering why he's allowing him to literally curse in court without a contempt of court citation. I don't know. And there's also plenty to say about the continuing protests regarding Gaza and activity in Gaza. We'll get back to that again next week. I will leave you with this. Joe Biden said some really ridiculous things this week, equating anti-Semitism with the anti-Israel protests. I should say anti-genocide protests. Equating one with the other is really horrible. I expect that from Fox News. We'll talk more about all of this next week because sadly I'm sure it'll still be going on. All right, I'm Charles Purcell. This is The Log. You can find this on any of your podcast platforms. You can write to me at charlespurcell@gmail.com, follow on Facebook. Thanks to our flagship terrestrial station, River West Radio, riverwestradio.com, and our theme music composed and performed by Peter Donalds. All right, there you go. See ya.